Hey guys, it's Cybel, and I have a new build for you guys. With the current setup they have, the current patch version, our shatters are on a 0.25 second cooldown, global cooldown. So I unfortunately have to put my self-shatter healing build on the shelf for a little while. Don't worry, it'll come back. I haven't gotten rid of it. But in the meantime, I have shifted to another ultra defensive Mesmer build, another tanky build. This one is essentially a Phantasm heavy build that uses Mantra of Recovery as an offensive support ability. You're going to be doing much more damage than my other build does. This actually has a great damage output regardless of what you're using it in. And you get all the defensive bonuses as well. So it's a win-win all around for you. I'm going to tell you now that the absolute requirements for this build, you absolutely need to have Superior Rune of Altruism, a full set of that, or this build won't work. Also, this is a melee-only build. This is gonna scare a lot of people off. I understand if you're not comfortable with using your gap closer, the Illusionary Leap, if you're not comfortable with melee in general, you don't want to use this build. You can kind of fudge it a little bit with a greatsword, but it's just not as effective as running it all melee. You're going to miss out on a lot of your damage, and it's just going to hurt you. Now, I'm going to start out with the utilities that I run in this build. This build runs the Mantra of Recovery. Sorry, I had to burn those really quick there. I forgot they were up. I run the Mantra of Recovery for my healing skill here. This is going to be the backbone of much of what you do. The Mantra of Recovery, when you trigger the chant or the individual heals, you're going to trigger the altruism runes, which are going to give, each time you use a healing skill with altruism, you give 3 stacks of might for 10 seconds on everyone around you, including yourself, and a few seconds of fury, 5 seconds of fury to everybody around you. You're going to be using that to give it to your phantasms. For my other mantra I've got there, I use the Mantra of Resolve. This is a preference thing. Alternatively, you can run the Phantasm of this Enchanter if you want to have more Phantasm uptime. This is preferential. I'm big on mantras, so I use them a lot. One word of warning, though, on the Mantra of Recovery. If you really want to benefit from this, get gear with healing power. Mantras are really weak until you spec into healing power. Once you've cleared about the 1,000 mark in healing power, you really start to feel the mantra as being much more potent than either Feast is. Or, say, Mirror. If you're playing Sylvari, the Healing Seed is also viable, but you're going to be missing out on the best part of this build, so I'd avoid it. For my first Phantasm, I'm running the Defender. He's cuts the damage you take in half, so he's nothing but benefits. When you get him out there after your other Phantasms, if you have a Warden down or you have a Swordsman down, he's going to gain their regeneration, and he'll really stick around, so you can benefit a lot from having him out. You can even get more than one of them out. It won't keep stacking the damage in half, but it's a failsafe layer in case one of them goes down. You've got that redundancy to stay alive. This other skill I've got here, if you're running a char, you're going to get the most out of this build, because you get Battle Roar. It's on a 35-second cooldown. It does the same thing that Altruism does, just with a smaller effect. You gain 7 seconds of Fury to everyone around you, including yourself, and 2 stacks of might. While Altruism gives you those stacks for 10 seconds of might and 5 seconds of fury respectively, this gives you 7 seconds of fury and almost 20 seconds of might. Excuse me, almost 20 seconds of might. This is awesome. When you combine the two, you're gaining about 15 seconds of fury to everybody, and you're giving 5 stacks of might. This is a very, very large amount of bonus damage you've just gifted all of your phantasms. For your elite skill, I run the Misfire Wolf on this setup. I really like him. He opens up most of his fights with a charge that stuns on impact, so keep people in their place at the start of the fight when you get your Warden out, so the Warden gets to maximize his damage. He also just does great overall damage. I really, as far as the summons go you get out of this, they're really one of the best. Alternatively, if you're playing a char and you don't have access to the Misfire Wolf, run the Warband support. They don't hit as hard, but you got two guys at your Warband out there, a melee range and a ranger, and they just help for damage mitigation. They keep things off of your phantasm, they stay out longer. It's really useful. Other than that, as far as the raw Mesmer skills go, I'd run Moomorph, although I'm really not too fond of running it. It does keep them from killing your Phantasms. It can help if you're not running the Warden, you're running dual swords instead. The kind of Phantasms that chase after their target, you can benefit a lot from that. It's 10 seconds of, I'm just going to whack on you till you die. I'd avoid the Time Warp, actually. Even though you think that it'd be great for this build, your Phantasms are on a set timer as far as they attack. They don't attack more frequently because of Time Warp. The Mass Invisibility has a slight use. You can kind of use it to get creative with people or drop targeting. When your Phantasms exit stealth, whether it's from attacking or just timeout, typically it's going to be from attacking. If they don't have that phantasmal glow anymore, they look like a clone. So it just looks like another player standing there with a pair of pistols firing on you, or a warrior just standing there swinging a sword at you, or a duelist, he just looks like another player. You can get a little creative with that, drop targeting, and just kind of mess with players a little bit. I won't say stick with that, because there is a good chance that it will be patched at some point, and that effect will never happen, although it's target dropping. You can get rid of that nice big target sign over your head. I haven't really messed around with the other racial abilities. Personally, my Mesmer's a Char. I have a Norn Mesmer I'm also working on at the moment for my condition build. But he's I don't really see any other racials working too good with this. Except perhaps Radiation Field could be viable on the Asura. The Charzuka is the only other racial I think it would be useful in this. If you're at a distance, you've got your stuff out, you can use your Charzuka to put some burn stacks on the target. You can use it to knock back your target back into place with your 2 attack, and it's a good combo field attack. But I would usually suggest you use the Misfire Wolf. It's your best damage output, your best control, your best all-around good summon for this build, and he gets regen from your Phantasms. Now, as far as the weapons go, these you can get creative with. You can switch this up a bit, but you always have your sword as your main hand weapon. Personally, I'm running the pistol and the focus because I find that the traits line up best for that. You can use the torch as well. You're going to miss out on the cooldown on that, but I find the torch is pretty good without that to begin with. The cooldowns aren't too bad. Dual swords works really good on this build because you already have the trait for it with the sword to begin with, and your Phantasms for that are evading frequently. They won't get picked off as quickly. Now, on to the traits we go. For our trait setup, I've got 10 in Domination, 20 Dueling, 30 Inspiration, 10 in Illusions. Chaos has nothing in it right now. Domination, I have the 10 points in it. It's going to give me power, it's going to give me condition duration. Power is the most important part. But I'm running Empowered Illusions, 15% more illusion damage. Good for your Phantasms, more damage is good. Dueling, we've got our Vigor on crits, we've got our Bleeding on crits for our Phantasms. Very good as well, it's more bleed. Who doesn't like more damage? But I'm running Blade Training for the first 10-point trait. This is going to give you more precision at all times because you're always going to have a longsword out. And it's cooldown reduction for your sword. Combined with the other cooldowns, this is going to get your Illusionary Leap down to about 7 seconds or so. Your Blurred Frenzy is going to get cut down significantly to about 6 seconds. All around good. Dual swords, your Phantasm gets reduced. Your cooldown and your block and stun gets reduced. There's no reason not to run this on this current build. Over on the 20-pointer, I'm running Duelist Discipline for the pistol. If this will get your pistol's Phantasm, the Duelist, down to about 11 seconds of a cooldown. So basically, you can get your Phantasm out, fire off your magic bullet, and switch weapons, and you know when the cooldown for the switch is about done, your Phantasm on your pistol is done. Alternatively, if you're not running the pistol, the only other skill I suggest you use is the Mantra Mastery. It's 20% recharge reduction on your not your Phantasms, on your mantras. This will get your mantra recovery down to about 8 seconds. This is good simply because it's your healing skill, it's something you want to keep available at all times, and you're using it offensively. You just really want that. I would highly, highly avoid using Phantasmal Fury. You're going to be giving your Phantasm's Fury from 2 different sources if you're a Char, and from your heal otherwise. Don't use it. Ignore it. Down in Inspiration. This is the big tree. This is my favorite tree. I love Inspiration. If it was a person, I would hug it. I would love it. I would bring it to bed with me. and horrible things would happen. But this is all about phantasms on this tree, despite it being a healing and vitality tree. It's all about phantasms hitting harder, surprisingly, and protecting yourself. Phantasms are going to have retaliation from the passive trait. They're going to have regen when you get near them. It's going to help your allies out too. Everyone gets regen around them. I'm actually not sure if there's a 5-person limit on that or not, but it's really nice. Also, 15% more phantasm damage at the end there in the Grandmaster section. More damage! Who doesn't love more damage? For the individual traits, I'm running the phantasmal or persisting images for phantasm health. 20% more health for them. I like it when they're made of cardboard and not paper. They still die quick, but not as badly. For the 20-pointer, I'm running Mender's Purity. This is actually a tier 1 trait as well, so you can put this in your first slot if you want to use something other than health bonuses. But remove a condition when you heal. This is very useful. You want to have the condition removal whenever you pop your heal. And it's just another layer of defense to keep vulnerability off you, to keep bleed stacks off of you. It's great for sustainability. For my final skill, I'm running Warden's Feedback. It's weapon specific. This is for the focus. This has it's kind of a 2-pronged bonus here. It's really nice. You've got your cooldown reduction for the focus, of course, and you've also got your focus skills reflecting projectiles. That means that this temporal curtain here, that is a wall of reflection now. On top of it being a speed bonus field, on top of it being a wall that cripples people, and you throw your illusionary leap through there, and you walk through it at the same time. Everyone gets retaliation. You can't go wrong with that. Most people don't run that trait, so a lot of people are unfamiliar that it exists. People won't realize that you have a wall of reflection available at all times. So you can catch a lot of rangers, catch a lot of necromancers, warriors with rifles, anyone with a ranged weapon. You can catch them off guard pretty quickly and get a nice initial burst from their own attacks. The Warden also, he does reflection, but you don't need the trait for that. But you get his cooldown reduced to about 16 seconds. It's very nice. Now, down to the Illusions tree, we got our Illusionist Celerity. That's cooldown reduction for all illusion summoning skills. This includes your Phantasm on utility. This is your Illusionary Elite. This is your Warden, your Duelist. Makes everything great. It's one of those skills that you want to have on almost every build you make for Mesmer. It's just that good. Now, for the 10-point trait here, I run Compounding Power, 3% more damage for each of your active illusions. This is preferential, though. If you wanted to, if you want to gain a little more survivability, you want to gain extra regen, you can take out that 10 points, or take out 5 points of that 10 point, and put 5 points in Chaos instead. This will give you the regen at 75% health. It'll give you 10 seconds of regen and a 30-second cooldown. It's a pretty good skill. This is up to you. I personally like having the higher damage output because I'm not used to having damage with my previous build. So, it helps out a lot. For armor, under our next bit here, you already know the rune set, Altruism. This is the same idea as my previous build I did. You're going to want to run... To get the most out of the Mantra of Recovery, you want to run Healing Power gear, so Cleric and Magi are good. But you can run Glass Cannon on this setup, believe it or not. Since there's so much damage put towards your Phantasms and your crit rate's going to be decent, you're going to want to run some kind of critical damage bonus somewhere if you want to go for Glass Cannon. So running Berserkers, for example, is extremely effective. You will be putting... your Warden will be putting thousands of damage on the field if you stun somebody inside their bubble. Alternatively, I believe Knights is a good effective set for this. It gives you, I believe it's power, vitality, toughness, something like that. It's got power in it. Yeah, power is its main stat. It's always good. Everything hits harder. Can't go wrong with that. For your weapon setup, as previously mentioned, this is up to you. I personally will suggest running the focus and the pistol with the main hand sword on both setups. But Torch is useful. Dual swords is very effective. Just avoid the scepter. The scepter is not your friend. And don't use staff because it's not a build for condition damage. Now, as far as combat goes, I'll bring this over to the fighting range here, and we will see how this works. We're going to be using our gap closer quite a bit. In PvE, you're actually going to open up with your gap closer. You're not going to swap with it, but you're going to use it so they fight your clones instead of your phantasms. I am, for the sake of being able to hear me in this video, going to throw on a different weapon quick, so you don't have to listen to chainsaw all day every day. Put my chainsword of generosity away. But here at the range, we're going to open up our fights in PvE. You can do it in PvP and World vs. World as well, because it will cripple your target. We're going to want to open up with a illusionary leap. This will be your initial target. Things will fight. Keeps them off the warden that you're going to summon next. If you want to get creative and a little more defensive, you can put down your feedback first. Or not your feedback, your temporal curtain first. Run your phantasm through it and touch the field yourself. You gain swiftness and you gain retaliation. Very good. After you put down the warden, switch over to your pistol. You have two options here. You can go straight into your duelist, or you can do a magic bolt to stun someone within the warden. That way, whoever you're fighting is stuck there. They're going to get hit really hard, as you can see from the 2,500, 3,000 damage that just came out of my warden. Then you put down your duelist. Duelist is self-explanatory. He's ranged DPS. Now, once you've got these two guys out, you want to get out your defender. Defender's going to cut the damage you take in half. He's something you want to keep out as frequently as you can. Now, as those guys will fight, I'm just using the shatter so I have clear audio, so ignore that. As you're fighting, you're going to want to be using your mantras. Your mantra of recovery, as you can see here, gives you might and it gives you fury. So as you get your phantasms out, I'll put a quick duelist out here, I'll put a quick warden out here. All these guys out here. As they're fighting, popping your mantra gives them fury, gives them might. Sorry, I just timed that incorrectly there. So they get 20% more crit rate, and they get all these might stacks. On top of that, you can stack your battle cry. Who doesn't like more damage and more crit rate? You can alternate between the two of these as well. I would suggest if you want to do a sustained damage, you can alternate between your mantra of recovery and use your battle roars cooldown as your cooldown. Alternatively, you can use your might cooldown from the mantra because it's a 10-second cooldown and it's 10-second cooldown. I mean, it's 10 seconds of might on a 10-second cooldown. But you can burst it by using them at once, or you can alternate between the two and just keep the damage up. But that's essentially the setup here. You're going to be using these phantasms defensively mostly. If you're in World vs. World, you're going to want to be standing instead of your wardens to maximize your defense, your reflection, and more or less make it difficult for people to just get to you in the first place and hit you. Your elite there, use this when you feel it's best. I find that it's good. If you find someone that's going to be very tough to fight, open up with him after you create your warding, because if you're using the Misfire Wolf, he'll stun them on the warden, and then you can throw a fresh stun down with a magic bullet. He should sustain pretty well. He's 30 seconds, he'll be out, so a good chunk of the fight he'll be available. Other than that, that's essentially the setup. I hope you guys like this build. If you have any comments or suggestions, drop it in the comments below or leave a reply in the thread I left this in. As previously mentioned, while this is a different build for me, I haven't shelved the previous shatter build. Or not shatter, but the self-shatter build for self-heals. Have not shelved that. I still have it. I just, until they finish this update with the weirdness of the cooldown, I'm not going to be using it. But when I do get it back, I'm going to likely integrate these phantasms for, integrate them into my self-heal build. So I can get damage and sustainability all together in one beautiful, painful package. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will catch you guys next time I'm around. And just keep an eye out in case I put another build up, because you never know. Maybe I'll find some other cockeyed weird thing to do.